Hey everybody, Cal Ewing here, and in this video we're going to have a little bit of fun. Easter is just a few days away at the time of recording this. So, Easter's all about color, right? It's all about spring colors, flowers. We get the rain showers, the rainbows, and then of course the colorful Easter eggs. I don't know if kids still do that. Our kids still dye Easter eggs and everything before Easter. So we're going to do something extremely colorful. You'll see what I mean in a second. But this past week, I was analyzing a tape of non-performing mortgage notes. So these are mortgages that are being sold off where the borrower has stopped making their payments. And some of the mortgages on this tape were in pre-foreclosure. So the foreclosure process had already been started by the lender and they wanted to sell off the note and basically wipe their hands of it, not complete the foreclosure. And some of them had not started the foreclosure process yet, but the borrowers had been missing payments for at least 4 months. Okay, so I was looking at some of these notes, and I'm going to show you one of the ones I was looking at. I'm not going to go into too much detail because we're going to talk more about how to analyze the value of a property just using online sources. So without having to hire a realtor to do a broker price opinion or a CMA, we're just talking about how you can look quickly if you're looking at property deals or no deals and you want to get an idea of what's the current value of that asset. I'm going to show you how to do that, and then we're going to look at some interesting color things. So I'm going to share my screen right now. Okay, so on that tape, there was a mortgage being sold, a non-performing mortgage note that is attached to this property. And you can see here on Zillow, it's in pre-foreclosure. So the note holder, the bank that, or investor that owns this note, had started the foreclosure process. And if I remember correctly, this is the amount owing on the note, the total payoff. That's what the starting bidding, I guess, is going to be set at. And as you can see here, this is in Joshua Tree, California. And what I love is when Zillow actually has photos of the inside of the property if they're recent, because as a note investor, you want to get an idea of like, what are you getting yourself into? If you ever have to foreclose and take that property back, what's going to be on the inside? And so this is extremely helpful. And so nice little property is a 2-bed, 1-bath, 1,100 square foot property. And it looks like they've done some recent updates. It looks really nice and clean. Nice little house. So this is going into foreclosure. I had the opportunity to buy the note. I didn't end up doing it for various reasons, but I was trying to figure out, like I do with most notes I analyze right up front, I want to get an idea of what the value is. And so I usually start with Zillow. And Zillow is not the most reliable source. Sometimes it can be fairly accurate as far as property values, and sometimes it's completely off. So I don't ever really trust Zillow, but I use it as a starting reference point. If I'm analyzing a bunch of notes at once, there's a large tape, I'll use the Zillow value as a starting point, but then once I get bids accepted, I'm going to get a broker price opinion and really narrow down the current value of the property in its current condition. So this is what it looked like on Zillow. Next thing I do is I go in and I go into PropStream. Now this is a amazing website. If you don't have PropStream and you're a real estate investor, you're missing out. The functions inside PropStream are endless. It's really cheap. It's a monthly subscription. And you can see right now how I'm going to use PropStream and how I use it almost every day to get property information, mortgage information, and ultimately comps to try and figure out the value of the property. Okay, so I put in the address and it gives you all kinds of information about the property itself. You got the property details, the owner information, tax information, all of that is here. Okay. It also gives you pre-foreclosure details. So we can actually see who the lender is, when the notice of default is filed, etc. Recent sale details on the MLS, if it's recently or if it's currently for sale. Get all those details here. The visiting history. So it's just, there's so much good information. Tax information. Linked properties are like other properties that this owner has, this property owner has. Mortgage history. But what we're interested in here is that crazy swing. So a year ago, the value was 700. Now it's down to 350. And I'm guessing that value here was either because this has been listed at the total payoff amount on that note. So it's listed on Zillow and on the MLS so that it is more accurate. But that's crazy. That swing in values is ridiculous. But anyways, what I do is I go to comparables. I usually look at just MLS, but you can also look at record sales. And so what PropStream does is it takes the property details and it kind of sets a default criteria for you that you can adjust later. So, okay. So here it gives you a year date range, so you can look at all the sales in the last year, but you can adjust after 6 months. The shorter time window, the better. At least so 6 months is more accurate than a year, and markets can change, right? And then you can set your criteria for beds and baths. Okay. Now, here it comes. So in this case, you can see here, as I mentioned, this is a 2-bed, 1-bath property. And so it's got 4 bedrooms, 3 bedrooms, and 2 bathroom properties. So we want to get rid of all that. We want to be comparing apples to apples, right? So we don't want to be comparing 4-bedroom home with 2 baths to a 2-bedroom home with 1 bath. All right, so there we go. Square footage, I like to be, depending on the size of the property, about 20% on either side. This gets from 905 square feet to 1357. Our subject property was 1131, so that's a pretty good range. That's kind of the window I would look in. And then the distance is default is half a mile. I prefer looking at properties within a quarter mile if they're good comps, and then expanding out if I have to. But for the sake of this, we'll just keep it at a half mile. And then you can set the property type, single family, and there you go. Okay, so these are the comps that it gave me. See kind of the area, there's the subject there, and then there's the comps that it gave me here. So now what we've got is, these are all MLS sold. This is the sale date, the sale amount. So we're looking at 385.2, so kind of that range. But the funny part is, if you look here, get rid of the 2-bedroom. Now we got a 700 in there. Get rid of the 1,000. There's a couple. There's a 500. There's a 650. So 200. It's crazy. The value range in this town is insane. And I don't know this market very well, which is one of the reasons why I opted not to make a bid on this still. But crazy the different values here. And they also, these ones are actually rentals. If a property was listed as a rental, so you get rid of those as well. But anyways, go back to tune in. Here we go. Okay, so we got 3 comps, and you can see the square footage is relatively close to what we have. Same with the lot size. Okay, and the year built is a little bit wide. This is 81. This one's pretty close. These two are a little bit. Okay, so that's good. So based on this, our average sale price was $276. Okay, but we can't stop there because, as I said, this house is in pretty good condition, and we want to be comparing apples to apples. So we want to look at the actual comps and the condition that those comps were in. So we don't want to be comparing a nice property like this to a home that has not been remodeled in 30 years and is, gross inside, really worn by the owners, maybe disrepair. But we also don't want to be comparing to something that's extremely fancy, but something cool, all kinds of high-end features, right? We want to be looking at something similar to this home, possibly. So what I started doing is I just started looking at these comps. Here's one person that was the same age, built on the same year, you were saying. And I usually try that on the same page. So have this little and so, in general, the outside looks fairly similar, but let's just look inside. Okay, so this one is not in the same condition. This is what I like. It's been well lived in, well worn. You know, it needs paint, needs carpet, needs an update in the cabinets and everything. So that's what I mean. Like, if you have to use this property, you know that the subject property is way nicer, so it's going to be valued more, right? Okay. So now let's go and look at this one here, 61553. And I pulled this one up already. So this is the whole reason why I want to make this the extra video with the colors. Let's just take a moment and enjoy this property. So it's got even its own website. I'm guessing it may was owned by an artist or something like that. But look at the attention to detail that this property is put into. So there's your garage. It's like you're starting the Mario Kart level, the Rainbow Road. This is like the starting point, or when you mark it after the race. They painted the rocks. It's crazy. This house is incredible. They painted the beams. Unreal. It's like the level of detail. They did not miss a single thing with this house. But I mean, it looks like it was even the fan blades, the curtains. So this thing is epic. I don't think I could live in something like this. I think after about a day, it would be too much for my senses. This is the kind of place you'd want to visit, maybe for like a party or a barbecue. But I could not live in something like this. Just not for me. Is that Bernie Sanders? Carpet in the closets, the doors. Look at the doors. Unreal. Every closet has that shag carpet. Pretty cool. So here's the backyard. Not a lot of vegetation growing in this town. Isn't Joshua Tree where they have here where they have man? I don't know. But look at those fans. And there's the pool. There's the pool. The goddamn umbrella. Oh man, so there's your fire pit. Now that looks like a great place to have a fire. That's awesome. And then this little walkway, the bench, like every single detail was taken into account. Now, what is it? The shed? It's a bathroom. They've got okay, so they've got a little bathroom. I guess this is when you're in home and you don't want to go inside, but you got to go where you need to change. They've got this nice little outhouse. It's like it comes with its own super fancy, colorful, Lucky Charms outhouse. The shower is amazing. Oh wow! All right, I know I'm spending a lot of time on this, but it's worth it. This is what it looks like at nighttime. Now that's a place you want to have a barbecue. So there we go. Pretty incredible. More of the garage, little lounge area. I wouldn't even want to park a car in here. No way. You wreck that floor. It doesn't look like they either. Okay. So there we have it. So let's go back though. So completely different feel, right? Different mood to this property. I'm gonna stop sharing here. So the question is, would you use that as a home? I mean, it's similar size, same number of beds and baths, except that extra outhouse. But that to me is not a comparable. Here's why. That property is going to have a very unique buyer. So I know someone paid like $3 for it. But only a very small window of buyers are going to want that house. And some buyers might see that and say, you know what, that thing is amazing. I have to own this, and I don't care if I have to pay above market value to own that. That thing is mine, right? So they might pay too much for a house like that, or because it's so unique. You might get someone that says, like, well, I don't want to live in a rainbow. And so as soon as I buy this thing, I'm going to have to repaint it, get it back to looking like your average home in that area, right? So they may will underpay for that property because they know they're going to have to redo it all. Okay, so to me, I never want to use a very unique house like that as a comp because it's not going to be indicative of what I could sell on my property, the one I'm looking at as my subject property. they're not apples to apples. That, like I said, it's like a fruit roll up to an apple, right? So the real color from the fruit roll up. So the lesson here, and I just want to have fun with this video and show you guys, is if you see a comp like that, you got to throw it out. You can't use that as a comparable when you're trying to establish the value of a property. And so if your realtor gives you a CMA and they use one of those kind of properties as a comp, talk to them and say, what are you doing? Like, that is not comparable at all. And if you're looking at buying a house or a note that is secured to a house like that, you have to have a very specific exit strategy for that. So whether it's like an Airbnb, like that thing could make a pretty epic Airbnb. Maybe that's what it did or was. Or you're running a business out of that thing. Like you have to have a very specific exit strategy, because if you're buying something like that with the idea of eventually selling it, or just any kind of really unique, weird looking property, you got to know that not that many buyers want to buy that property. It doesn't fit the average in the area. And so if you ever had to sell it, you may have a very tough time selling. Okay, so you need to keep that in mind when you're buying houses like that, or if you're considering buying them. You might just want to stay away, because most of the money, the biggest buyer pools are the average homes that look good condition that are similar to the others. Okay, so that's the lesson of the story. I thought it'd be fitting for Easter. Spring is coming. We want to get some color, get rid of this dreary winter, and I thought this was a great opportunity. I had to share this video as a lesson on what to look for and what comes to use and what not to. So I hope you got value out of that video. Feel free to give my video a like if you like that video, and subscribe to my channel. Also, I am going to put a link to PropStream. I am an affiliate, so if you're not using PropStream and you think there's value that it brings to your real estate business, I ask you to please use my link. Every little bit counts. And otherwise, happy Easter to you all if you're watching before Easter. And we'll talk to you on the next video. Hope you enjoyed Rainbow House. Take care.